Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So here I just wanted to have a kind of open-ended discussion, I suppose. Probably me just kind of sitting here and riffing on this model here and a few ideas that sort of are encompassed within it. Now this model here I've shown now and again for people who follow the channel, but it is actually over a fairly long period. I bought this in November 2020, just after the lockdown opened up in the UK. Took a trip to Salisbury. This had just been released and I picked it up. Now I got straight on with building it, and it was right when I was in the thick of it with the basic modelling building that I was doing, which is still current, but it's, you know, slowed down a little bit. At the time it was all I was doing, building armour from a basic kind of point of view to try and learn techniques. And this was the one to really take that up to the next level. It was to try and use all of those basic techniques but turn it into something a little bit more along the road to getting out of being basic, getting out of being amateur, and starting to take just a baby step in the direction of getting a little bit more advanced, I guess. But I don't like to use the word advanced often. So what's happened here is I've actually done some quite intense pigment mud effects in here. They don't show up that well in the camera, but it is all going on in there. I've also detailed the kit as best I can as well, whilst keeping it out of the box, which meant drilling out these areas here on the tracks. So that's every single one, you can see through there. That was not, we're talking about this piece here, that was actually not hollow, so it didn't go all the way through. So I've drilled those out. They are, I did know the name at the time, like I said, it's been a long time. What they are for is for fitting the Osketten, I believe. They join on there and then stick out a little bit further, and it comes on later model of Panzer III and Panzer IV tracks. So this is really 90% there, and it's been 90% there for an awful long time, and I've really been using excuses to let it not get finished. And I mean, I'm still sat here now. I've just brought it to the bench, and I thought, well, it would probably make a good discussion topic to think about how we can get caught up in the idea a bit too much and kind of get stunted by it. With a couple of close friends I speak to quite often regarding modelling, you know, there's a sort of joke. One of the guys is got a lot of models an hour away, and that really is the point. It's getting to a point where you just think, it's almost like you've got further. It's such a strange thing. It's like you've got further past the point of finishing it, if that makes sense. It feels like to almost put that extra hour in to actually finish it, get it across the line, take some pictures, it's done. It feels like you're past it, but you're obviously not. That's how I see it. You know, he may have very different views, is the guy I'm talking about, but I mean, there's a lot of guys, there's lots of people that do this. We get a model right up to it, and then there's something we don't like about it. The thing that stopped this is I realised once I got down the line, I wanted to open up all the doors. If I'm going to open up the doors, I need to paint the internals. If I'm going to paint the internals, how do I get around that? Well, I can use the figures as well, so I don't need to do too much. You just paint what you can see, which is very basic. If I'm going to use the figures, it needs to go on a base, and that's where it stopped. It needs to go on a base, and my kryptonite, if you like, my stumbling block is bases. I've done them in the past, and I always do them a bit sort of ad hoc, a bit last minute, don't really put a lot into it, and they look like that. So I can do simple bases, but for this I've got some styrofoam. And this is the thing, it really gets me, is I bought that block of styrofoam. I've got 4 sheets of styrofoam. I bought it off of Amazon in December 2021, because I got this kit built rather quickly. I mean, this Tamiya kit went together brilliantly straight away, and I walk past it every morning and every evening when I come back from work, because it's in the hallway. And I look at it, and it's just every day I'm reminded that I bought that in 2020, and I still haven't even opened it. I still haven't even tried. That's the point. I haven't even tried. Let alone getting to the point of failing. It's being scared of failure. We've all got different areas. I don't like weathering, but I say that, and as soon as I get into weathering, I do start to really enjoy it. It really opens up, and I start to get lost in it. And this one has got some of the most extreme and advanced weathering I've done, with extremely subtle techniques as well. I was weathering it just around the time when Ronaldo started doing his live streams. I've since gone away from watching them, but initially I was watching them for the first sort of, I don't know, first 5, shall we say, and I was taking away a lot of techniques and a lot of things from that as well, and I was finding it really interesting. And then what I like to do with people like that is, I haven't mentioned this before, I don't think, but you know, I obviously know about guys like Night Shift, Wilder, Ronaldo, all the guys that are out there, the top guys, everything that AK and Ammo's doing in their books and all that sort of thing. But what I don't actually follow it. So if you take Night Shift, for instance, I think I subscribed to him when, I'm sure he was under 2,000 subscribers. Not that that's any claim to fame, but just showing you, I was straight on it, really enjoyed what he was doing. And then when I started doing my own, I thought, right, if I sort of follow him religiously, like a lot of guys do, and watch everything every Friday, it's going to start to influence me. So I've gone away from it. So I don't tend to watch him. I drop in now and again for subjects of interest. Like recently the World War I tank. I was straight in on that because that was very interesting. And same again, like Ronaldo, you know, I've got a few ideas of what he was doing with this OPR, oil paint rendering. It was a new term to me. Got an idea of it. And then I like to just go away and do my own thing. For no other reason than I don't want to be seen as sort of just re-churning out the same thing. I do not have my own style. I do not do my own thing, but it makes me feel, how would I describe? I suppose I'm more inclined to give it a go if I'm not quite sure of where I'm going with it, and then we kind of learn together. And I'll show you as we go on through. I want to do a few videos kind of explaining this. The series that I started late 2020 on basic armour modelling wasn't just for you viewing it, it was actually for me as well. The idea was to learn the process myself, and I've done that on camera. You'll see when we start off, obviously I'm doing very basic stuff, so I was a little bit further ahead than that, but as we're starting to get into some techniques, I am doing them for the first time, really. That's why I'm doing them on one side. I've done it on this as well. I've sort of modelled one side, and then I've gone and filmed the other side, so I get an idea of what the process is, and that's sort of how I go about the weathering. Same again, you know, I do a little bit on the turret and then I'll come away. I mean, one thing I learned on this one was just how to get pin washes right and get them in really tight, which I think I have managed here. If we look at certain areas, I was just looking here, excuse me old chap, I just use your back end there, is, you know, the pin wash is nice and tight back around here and back around there, and I wasn't doing that. I was tending to get it sort of muddying the colours in between, which it hasn't. And before, if anyone's a little bit confused as to why Desert Tank's so muddy, this is Tropin 1 colours that were painted on these vehicles that were destined. This is, oh god, I got right into it at the time. I think this is often described as an F1, and then there's the F2 with the longer barrel, but it's not really. This is the F, and then the longer barrel is a G. But whatever you want to call it, if you say this is an F1, these are desertised vehicles, but they also, because there was a bit of a crisis on the Eastern Front, these were sent to Russia, so they ended up on the Eastern Front in the lower sector, which was described as a tropical sector, so they arrived in the Tropin scheme. Tigers were doing it as well, and there is 2 colours here. So we've got a patch going there, which is the darker colour, and then we've got the lighter colour, which is from here to here. Should be able to see that now I've pointed it out, but it is a very subtle, low, I might be able to, if we do that, might show up a little bit more as well. It's a very low contrast scheme, which a lot of German armour use, the grey and brown colour as well. So now I've got all this filmed. There's the next thing. I must have 4 hours of this build, maybe, all saved on the laptop, and it's going to be edited down. So I'm just getting to a crunch point of this one, really, because there's enough content here to see us out, because it basically got the build, painting, weathering, and then the finish, and I just wanted to get to the finish. And the reason I haven't put it out is because I knew I was going to stall, so I didn't want to get 3 parts out and then wait a year for the last part. So I suppose the reason for this video is to show that it happens to everyone. You know, I've got this, I'm sure a lot of you guys as well have got sort of shelf queens or whatever, you've got stalled projects, things that are a problem, and it's a very natural part of the hobby. How we get across that, I could sit here and tell you a million things that I could do here to push on, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to push on. But I've cleared a bit of space now, so I'm going to go and get some of that foam, and if I start cutting foam, well then we're some way along the road then, aren't we? So, but there we are. I may even try and get this to a finished point, get the last 10% done, maybe get the figures painted up, take some pictures of it then, and then at least that finishes off the videos and we can get this one out then. You know, stay tuned and all that, and we'll see what we can do. But I thought it'd be an interesting discussion. If you might want to have a little go down below in the comments and see if a few of you get chatting, and I can obviously read the comments and get involved as well as to how you get past some of these stumbling blocks. This wasn't really about getting too involved. This is just an out-of-the-box kit, so it's not like I've put too much photo etch on or got lost in doing metal tracks and all this, that and everything else. It's a very enjoyable subject and enjoyable build, and I'd like to get the G. And the reason I held off is because it would be the same paint scheme, because I'd like to use all the figures and stuff. So I should have probably done this one as a German grey, and then I would have got that one as well. But there we are. As far as the kit's concerned, we'll go on a little bit further. It's got a little bit of criticism for being a brand new tool but having parts stamped like 1997. I do believe that it's been slightly improved nonetheless, because there's cast texture on areas which I'm almost certain wasn't there on the 1997 release. But you've really got the running gear is from 1997. The rest of it, oh, and the lower tub, the rest of it is all brand new for 2020, that is. And it builds up very nicely. So it sort of continues on from their D, that's from the 70s. It'd be nice if they went back to a D, but there's quite a few differences for an F. You go from an F to a G rather easily, but going back from an F to a D isn't quite as simple. There's a different glacis plate there, and front section. This whole thing is different at the front, and there's a few problems. There's a different turret as well. It's got a rear section, so I don't know if we're going to go that far back, but once they're into the G, you know, we might get some more. You could obviously argue, is it necessary? There's a lot of Panzer IVs out there as well. One downside is not having those parts on the tracks that I drilled out done already, because there's a couple of, I mean, I think even Zvezda have done that on their kit, so someone like Tamiya should have been able to do that from the box, I think, myself. But there we are. The painting scheme's completely wrong for this one as well, which is what I've gone on and corrected. It looked like this, and there's one with these sort of quite wide squiggles all over it, so that would have looked like this, but the squiggles would have been German grey, but it wouldn't have been this number. This number didn't have it. I found a close-up section of a close-up view of this section, very close, and you could see that there's actually two different colours, and then there was a wider shot as well. So it never had the camouflage. So there we go. Like I said, it was going to be a bit of a rambling video on my thoughts on maybe getting too deep into worrying about where you're going with a project. But I think it hopefully is useful. It's a nice one to see, and I'm hoping I can get on with this one and actually get it to a point where I can bring it to you, because it's going to be quite a nice video series, this. So yeah, there we go. Highly recommend this kit, by the way. Fantastic little build. These figures are stunning. The faces on them is rivaling resin figures. I don't think it's going to show up here. No, I don't think you're going to see it because I've painted it black, but very, very impressive figures, and I hope to do them justice. I've changed the hoop there for his ear muffs, headphones. Come on, Jason. Headphones, I think. I'm going to attach the wires as well. And I think, you know, they're very sort of dynamic poses as well. They give it a little bit of, I don't know, just real life, you know. Exquisite figures coming out from Tamiya. So if you're getting anything recent, They really are brilliant. But there we go. I'm starting to stumble here a little bit and running out of things to say. So let me know your thoughts down below, whether you've got any stumbling blocks when it comes to modelling, and we'll pick this up in the next video, which could well be a number of things coming down the line. But rest assured, there are videos coming thick and fast. So stay tuned to the channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next video.